IPS Mahi Sharma UPSC CSE topper and IS Anand Sharma UPSC CSE topper both have attained success in UPSC CSE 2023. Can you guess what's common between them? Both opted Sociology for CSE main as optional paper. Both have scored good marks in optional paper. Both have prepared Sociology optional under teaching and mentorship of Vikas Ranjan Shar with Sociology Foundation to Finale program. Just like Mahi Sharma and Anand Sharma, many aspirants have changed their dreams into reality. IS Medha Anand, IS Shivans Rathi, IS Yash Kumar Sharma, IPS Anurag Chopra, IPS Vanita Prakash, IPS Vivek Singh, IRS Riju Srivastava and many more. Prepare Sociology optional for UPSC CSE under teaching and mentorship of Vikas Ranjan Shar.
Hi everyone, my name is Kasturi and I've recently cleared the UPSC Civil Services examination with an All India rank of 68, and this was my first attempt. I am from the Thiruvananthapuram district of Kerala. I did my graduation here in English Language and Literature from Aravin's College, and it was after graduation that I started preparing for the Civil Services examination. My optional for the exam was Sociology, and I'm here to share with you something specifically about my optional. So I'm going to tell you 10 things that an aspirant would like to keep in mind before venturing on a study of Sociology as your optional for the Civil Services examination. So these were the 10 things that I tried out when I studied my optional, because as I just said, my graduation subject was English Literature and Sociology was completely a new subject for me when it came to choosing it as an optional. But gradually, with a systematic preparation and with multiple revisions, I could very comprehensively cover the syllabus and confidently write the exam as well. So now let me take you through the 10 pointers which would guide you in the preparation for Sociology. The first point that I'd like to say is to use the syllabus and the previous year questions of Sociology, which is available in the UPSC website itself as your pointers. Before we start on any journey, just like we'll have a destination map or like following a Google map when we go to a new place, similarly, the syllabus and the previous year questions will give us a good idea. Firstly, it will help us identify the interest, or are we really interested in the subject, or when we go through the topics of this syllabus of the Sociology, we'll definitely be able to identify whether it is suitable to our taste and our aptitude. And secondly, when we go through the previous year questions, what we'll identify and understand is, are we able to understand the question, and are we able to cater to the needs of the question, and is it something that we'll be able to answer in a good way? Because as we know, optional is the subject which will fetch us the highest marks. With 500 marks, no other subject in the UPSC Civil Services mains examination carries that weightage. So it is going to be something that we'll have to travel with for a considerable amount of time. So firstly, your interest and the super guidance will be provided by the syllabus and the previous year questions. And the second point about Sociology, or thing to keep in mind, is to choose one particular base material. As we know, in the market, several materials will be available. We'll have classes being offered by different teachers across India. So first thing is to choose one particular source as your base material and stick to it, in the sense that trust it rather than going behind all the other new source that comes up in the market, or rather than cluttering your table with all the other sources that you can find your eyes on. Rather than that, choose one. For me, I joined the Fortune Eyes Academy here in Thiruvananthapuram itself, and I took my Sociology optional from there. So the sir's class notes and the printed notes were my base material, and whatever I later on got from, say, current affairs or from magazines, I used to add on to the class notes itself. So having that class notes as your base material is the second point. And thirdly, I'd like to emphasize on having multiple revisions, because as we know, we have two papers in sociology, and the first paper, which is also known as the thinker's paper, where we come across different sociological theories, say sociological theories about religion or about marriage. So where we also will come across lots of writers, their works and their concepts. So in order to memorize it and to have a conceptual clarity over what we have studied, we need to revise over it multiple times. So a single source would be enough, but the key lies in multiple revisions of that single source and having the ideas built very concretely in a very crystal clear fashion in your mind. And another thing is, when it comes to multiple revisions, how will it benefit us is, when a question is being asked in the examination, for instance, if they are asking us to explain the elite theory of Wilfredo Pareto and Gaetano Mosca. So in that case, if a theory is being asked, the important thing that we'll have to keep in mind is to explain the theory in simple terms first and then go on to its analysis. So in order to be able to explain something in a very simple manner, in such a way that the examiner can easily understand that conceptually we are very clear on this, for that multiple revisions will definitely help us. And the fourth point when we come to sociology is, of course, like any other main subject, here also we need to practice answer writing. And not just answer writing, we also need to get it regularly corrected, say by a teacher, by a mentor, and get the feedback support. And also reading the toppers' copies and the toppers' answers from the sociology, which is of course available online. So that is where answer writing, for instance, when we finish a particular chapter in sociology, say it's the research methodologies chapter, and immediately after that, the weekend, maybe you can take a test. So taking a short test will also help you test yourself, how much have we studied and how much are we able to bring it to the paper. So it's also a test of our memory, it's a test of our presentation as well. So regular tests and answer writing. And fifthly, I would suggest that we have certain short notes for sociology, because we'll have these base material, a comprehensive class note, but apart from the class note, it would also be good if you can note down certain short points from your base material into a small, for example, take the chapter marriage, kinship, that chapter. If you can make it concise and bring it on to say 3 pages, just noting down the important theories, the thinkers, their opinions, or say a quote by a thinker, or the title of a book which is authored by a person. So such things that we are very likely to forget, but if we can have them as short notes just before we get into the exam hall or just before we have a test, we can simply brush it through it so that we'll also get much more familiar with these things. Those things will stay fresh in our memory. So preparing short notes also becomes essential for sociology as an optional. And the sixth point to keep in mind about the subject is that, as we know, we have the paper 2, which deals completely with the Indian sociological perspectives and Indian sociologists. So there is a scope for applying the current affairs that we have read from the newspaper. So there we need to integrate, or we need to apply whatever current affairs that we have read into the answers. It might be a statistics, for example, the National Family Health Survey findings, or any other sociologically relevant findings that we may come across in the newspaper. So that is a way of value adding your answers for the paper 2. And I had a score of 152 for my sociology paper 2. So this is a method that I tried out and I hope it worked. And next point, point number 7, is about using flowcharts and diagrams in your answers. And this skill of using flowcharts and diagrams is not something that would come in spontaneously when we sit to write an answer in the exam hall. So what I used to do was, even when I used to learn different topics, I used to think about it and make certain mind maps and diagrams and used to draw it in my notebook itself. So that when it came to answer writing, I needn't think about making a new diagram. I just had to already apply the diagram that I had made while preparing for it into the answer sheet. So that system of making diagrams and flowcharts have also been tremendously helpful when it came to answer writing. And another point which I think is very much ignored, but which is of course very helpful, would be the NCERTs of class 11 and 12 for sociology. The way that the NCERTs have explained the basic concepts in a very simple and interesting manner, and also we'll also be able to get certain things which would also help us in the GS paper 1 for society. So the NCERTs and the newspapers is something which is going to be a very important source for the sociology as our optional subject. And coming to the 9th point would be about time management when it comes to the exam in writing the optional. Because what I've usually found is, compared to the GS papers, I've found that the optional paper was a bit lengthy and bit stressful to complete on time, especially because we have these choices. So we need to read through the different questions, we need to find out which question to answer, which not to answer, which actually doesn't become a problem for us in the GS. Because in GS we need to answer all the questions, every question is compulsory, whereas when it comes to sociology we have a choice there. And also the question pattern, the marking also quite different from the GS. So we need to train ourselves in completing the paper on time. And the 10th point and the most important point is that if we can learn sociology in advance, for instance before prelims, or say 5 months before prelims, that would be of big advantage. When I started preparing after graduation, the first thing I did was to attend the sociology optional classes, prepare notes, revise and write tests. So it took me 4 months totally, and 4 months completely I devoted it to sociology and to the reading of the other NCERTs. So I could do it much early on, and that has helped me go through it, revise it multiple times. So the time that we'll get is definitely going to be an advantage in the race. So I would also suggest that if you can find time to revise and learn sociology much early on in advance, that early bird attitude will also help you fetch good marks in sociology. And beyond everything, it's your interest in the subject that will keep spurring you on, that will keep guiding you ahead. And if you're a person who really enjoys learning about society, the sociological perspectives around us, then definitely this is your subject, and go for it confidently. Wish you all the best. Thank you.